Hello and welcome to a new series on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for today's show. It's been a minute since we've done a live show. I think the last show that we did was the live watch along of Liverpool versus Wolves, and obviously that was an emotional one as Liverpool fans said goodbye to one of the great managers in Jurgen Klopp. Since then, a lot has happened in the football world, and with summer upon us, it only means the rumours are free-flowing as we speak. So it's only right that we have a dedicated show, and here we are. First episode of Transfer Talk during the off-season. A lot to discuss as there's around 15 rumours that I feel like need to be discussed in more detail and are circulating with some deals almost in completion. So let's begin with the first rumour, and that is a left back from the Eredivisie, which is obviously the Dutch league, and that is Hartman. So he is a 22-year-old attacking left back who's recently been linked with a move to Arsenal. Last season, he managed to attain 26 appearances, 0 goals, but he managed to have 5 assists. Stylistically, he suits Arsenal, very quick and attacks the flank continuously, has a very good delivery on him as well. So he'll definitely provide that spark that they need on the left-hand side. I know there's been question marks with regards to Zinchenko, and he really hasn't lived up to the bill. And then you've got players like Cunha, who is a more defensive-minded left back. So maybe they want to go on that route where someone is a bit more forward-thinking and is able to provide more of an influence in that attacking third. However, he's currently injured and will not return until 2025. So even though he fits their profile, I don't see this move happening. Not this summer anyway. It could be a move in the January window. But having said that, I believe Arsenal will probably look elsewhere and find another left back, as they need to add quality in that position, and it has to be done in this window. So remains to be seen what happens with that deal. The next transfer rumor, I'm sure you've seen it, guys. Guilherme, who plays for Palmeiras, 18 years old. He's only made a handful of appearances, 5 appearances for his club, 0 goals with 1 assist, but he's very highly regarded in Brazil. I read an article earlier on today that he was compared to Mbappe, like he's the next Mbappe. Stylistically, I don't think that's the case. But what we can do, I can actually show you a small compilation video, and then we can kind of review the player together. So here is the compilation. So I'll press play, and you can see how he is stylistically. So he's a left-footed winger that plays on the right-hand side. So as you can see, he's cutting in infield, taking a shot. So it's got nothing in comparison to Mbappe. So they don't kick with the same foot. But 18 years old, obviously look at the confidence he's got doing, kicking the ball over people's heads. I think he's made his name more for the sort of the junior levels of the Brazil team. So as you can see, he's got plenty of skill there, one-on-one. And he's got a decent shot on him as well. So definitely looks like a hot prospect that could eventually or possibly be joining West Ham this season. So for me, he looks a talented player. The big question will be, is he being signed as an additional player to the squad, or is he replacing someone? Because I know there's a bit of uncertainty with regards to Paqueta. I think there's some sort of betting allegations with him. So he's not clear to play anytime soon or as we speak right now. And then you've got Kudus, who's had a fantastic season for West Ham in the last few months. So remains to be seen if he's still at the club. Is this guy their long-term sort of replacement for Kudus? It could be. But as you can tell, very quick on the ball. Look, so he's not even playing on the left flank there, but I feel like that was more of a counter-attack move. So yeah, definitely got something about him. Obviously, it's the Brazilian league, so even though they play to a high speed, a high level, it's probably not the same as the Premier League. It's not as intense, I would say. And so it will take a bit of time to get used to. But he's 18 years old. Plenty of time for him to develop. Obviously, when you're signing players from South America, it does take them a bit of time to get acclimatized to the English weather, as well as the culture and the way we play football as well. So I think the fee is not a bad one. It's rumored to be around 26 million. And from what I've gathered, I think Romano's mentioned it on Twitter as well, that they are in advanced talks. So this could be completed by end of this week. And apparently Liverpool were offered the player and rejected a chance. Believe what you read. I'm not too sure about that one, to be fair. But overall, I feel like he looks like an interesting player. And I think it could be a good signing for West Ham. 26 million this day and age is pretty much peanuts. So yeah, not bad at all. So let's just have a look at one more goal that he can score. There you go. I think he's assisting them more than anything else. So an interesting player for West Ham. Also, before I go on to next, we've got to give a shout out to the person that's made that compilation. It's only right. So shout out to 360 Edition. To be fair, they produce a lot of great compilations. So yeah, make sure you give them a follow and make sure you subscribe to their channel. Always producing great content. And I'm sure you'll probably see me using their videos to present players that are being linked with the Premier League. So yeah, big shout out to 360 Edition there. Now back to our next rumor. Bryan Mbeumo linked with a number of clubs this week, to be fair. Maybe his agent's talking to the media and trying to get him a move this summer. One of the clubs is Newcastle, which he's been very strongly linked to. So 24 years old, as we all know, obviously viewers of the Premier League. He's had a great season for Brentford. 25 appearances, 9 goals, 6 assists. Definitely helped the team climb up to a good position before Ivan Toney made his return. So he definitely helped in terms of scoring the goals. And at his age, 20 years of age as well, I think it's probably the perfect time for him to challenge himself and play at a high level. And that's no disrespect to Brentford. As I mentioned, he's been linked with Liverpool. He's also been strongly linked with Newcastle. Is that the right move for the player? Unfortunately, Newcastle didn't qualify for European football next season, but it's a club that has high ambitions. So I don't think it would be a bad move, in my opinion. I think it would be a good move for Mbeumo to join the Toonami there. Newcastle don't really have a real starter on that right wing. I know Almiron and Jacob Murphy have played in that role last season, but haven't really cemented their place in the team. So this is one to look out for. I do believe Mbeumo will be on the move. I know Ivan Toney is expected to leave. I think Mbeumo might also be leaving Brentford as well. On to the next rumour. Tosin Adarabioyo, player that is a former Man City defender, and he's available on a free transfer. He's been linked with a number of Premier League clubs. He had a great season for Fulham, but it looks like he'll be moving over to their local rivals in Chelsea Football Club. Now, for Chelsea, I think he would be a good addition to the squad and possibly taking Thiago Silva's place in the team. The rumor right now is that they're actually in advanced talks as we speak. So expect this move to be announced very soon. Obviously, in terms of the profile of the player, 26, 27 years old, big in stature, but defensively really good, and can play in the back three or back four. So depending on how they set up stylistically, obviously they've got a new manager now in Enzo Maresca. So we'll be intrigued to see how he sets the team up next season. So I think that'll be a good sign. And they're not spending too much money here. Free transfer, which is quite unusual for Chelsea, but I think it's a astute signing if that is completed this week. On to the next player, Benjamin Sesko. Probably one of the hottest prospects in European football. The young striker has been making a name for himself. He joined Red Bull Leipzig last summer and has had a great debut season in all comps. He's made 42 appearances, 18 goals, and 2 assists. He's been likened to Erling Haaland, but from a more stylistically point of view. Tall striker with raw speed, and he's a left-footed finisher. He's been linked with a 56 million move to the Gunners, and I can actually see this move happening. The rumours surrounding Ivan Toney has fizzled out since the January window. So maybe they're looking at a different profile now, maybe a young striker with huge potential. And I think Sesko certainly fits the bill. Next rumour. Jarrod Branthwaite, the young centre back, has had a standout season full of toffees, so there's no surprise that he's been linked with a move away from the club. He managed to notch up 35 appearances for his young age. That's actually quite a lot of appearances in the league. And he also scored 3 goals to his name. A ball playing centre back with a lot of potential. He's been linked with a move to Manchester United. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think he should move there personally. It's a club in turmoil and not the best place for young players to develop, in my opinion. Just look at Jadon Sancho as an example. If I was the player, I would actually stay at Everton for one more season, try and gain more experience, and then take that next step in the summer. But as it stands, he's been linked with a 60 million move. United will probably have the cash to make that move. It'll be depending on the player's motive. If he wants to leave now, I think it would be the best choice for him to stay for one more season, learn his trade, and then next season he'll be more than ready to go to a big club and fit right in. Because if he goes to a club right now, it might take him a bit of time to get used to it. He's been selected for the England squad in the Euros, so that would be valuable experience for him to be part of an international tournament. So I think one more season Everton will do him good, but let's see how that story pans out. On to the next rumour. Aaron Ramsdale. This move is most likely going to happen this summer. He found first team opportunities very limited last season due to David Raya's arrival, and Arteta seemed to have lost some faith in the shotstopper. But due to his appearance the season before, I believe we all know there's a good goalkeeper there, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in him within the Premier League. He's been linked with a move to Newcastle, and I think that would be a great move for the player as well. For me, he's certainly a better goalkeeper than Dubravka, so he will be first choice at Newcastle. And as I mentioned earlier on, Newcastle are a team on the up, so I believe it would be a good team for Ramsdale to join. Next rumour, which is probably the first one. As you can see, most of my arrows are yellow, so that's basically a sign that it's a rumour. But if you see a green arrow, it's pretty much a done deal. So Palace have not wasted any time in making additions to the squad. Chadi Riyad is an Algerian international currently playing for Real Betis. He's been likened to Aymeric Laporte, who we all know is a former Man City defender, a left-footed centre-back who's decent on the ball from what I've seen. For 15 millions, I think it's a really good signing. Remains to be seen in terms of how he settles in the Premier League. This also adds question marks with regards to Guehi's future at the club, because he's been linked with move away from Palace. Both players are similar, left-footed centre-backs. So it remains to be seen if Riyad has been brought for competition or he's been brought in as Guehi's replacement. Only time will tell. Sticking to Crystal Palace, they've been linked to another player, and that is Daichi Kamada. But it doesn't stop there. Glasner is trying to bring the band back, I guess, as he's recruiting one of his former players from Frankfurt. Now, this player for me is an absolute baller. Plays in an attacking mid role. He had a fantastic campaign for Frankfurt in 2022, where they beat Rangers in the Europa League final. The following season, he moved to Lazio. Unfortunately, he's having some sort of issues there. I think down to some sort of financial payments or with the hierarchy, not quite sure in terms of what's going on. But from what I've read, it looks like both clubs are in talks right now, and a move could be done very soon. I think he'll be a good signing for the Eagles. He'll offer experience and that creative spark from a number 10 role. So I believe he will be a good addition to their squad. Next player, I mentioned him earlier on, Mohamed Kudus. Now, don't need to give this player too much of an introduction. The former Ajax player had a fantastic debut season for West Ham. In all comps, he made 48 appearances, scored 18 goals with 7 assists. Interestingly, he played in a number of different roles for the Hammers. He played as a 10 at times, left wing, right wing, even up front. So he would be a fantastic player for a big team as he's able to play in different positions and effectively as well. He's been linked with a move to the Red Devils, And similar to reasons to my assessment for Braithwaite, moving to United would not be the right move, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kudus, as I think if West Ham receive a big offer in that sort of 80, 85 million region, I can see him moving this summer. He does have a release clause, which is active from next summer, and I believe it's around 80 million. So if they get the same similar offer to match that release clause, I think they'll be willing to cash in right now rather than wait until next summer. Let's say this season he has an average season, his value will go down, and I don't think anyone would like to meet that release clause. So he's on a high right now. So if teams are willing to pay 80 plus million for him, it's definitely one for West Ham to ponder. Speaking from a Liverpool fans' point of view, I would love to see him at our club. I think it'd be a fantastic long-term replacement for Mohamed Salah. Unfortunately, I just don't see us splashing the cash. So, yeah, it is what it is with regards to that. Next player, also being linked to Manchester United, that's Matheus Cunha. Now, you're probably going to think I'm a hater. I just told you I'm a Liverpool fan, and I'm not just disregarding all the rumours to Manchester United, but I don't see this move happening. I'll give you some reasons why. I'm sure on a personal level, the player would love to join a big club like Manchester United, but I just don't know where he would fit in the team. He doesn't have that raw pace that you need to play on the wings. He's naturally a number 10, but even with United playing a 4-2-3-1 at times, that role is covered by Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount. The only position that he could probably fit in within sort of the lineup is up top, but I'm not too sure if he fits the way United play, as their strikers traditionally, like a Højlund, for example, plays on the shoulders, and that's not really Cunha's game. Cunha's more of a false nine type of player where he likes to drop deep and try to gain possession and set up the attack from there, allowing the wide wingers or wide forwards to invert, and then they'll be more of the goal scoring threat. So I don't actually think the story has any legs. But then again, it does sound like a typical United signing where they sign a player because they've had a good season, but not actually assessed his qualities and understand if his skill sets meet the team's requirements. So one to look out for. But from a footballing perspective, I don't think he fits the way that Ten Hag plays. Remains to be seen if Ten Hag is still there. If it's a different manager, it's a different conversation that we're having in regards to the story. So let's see what happens at Manchester United in the coming weeks. Next rumour, Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth. Now, this rumour has been rumbling for a few weeks now. But as it stands, there's been no further news. Lloyd Kelly is now a free agent as his contract with Bournemouth finished. Unfortunately, his time at the club was a bit stop-start due to a number of injuries. But he's a very interesting profile, a tall defender who can play as a centre-back and left-back, plus he's homegrown. So clubs will want to sign players to meet this criteria. The minimum number you need to have is 7 homegrown players. So is it not? 8, sorry, 8. Minimum 8 homegrown players and 17 non-homegrown players. So I definitely think one of the sort of established Premier League clubs will try and sign him based on the criteria that we all have to meet. I do actually think he'll end up at Newcastle, and I think he'll be a decent cover for Sven Botman whenever he's not available. On to the next rumour. Big Ivan Toney. This is an interesting rumour that's been circulating around. We all know what Ivan Toney brings to the table. He's a bagsman, and there's not many in Europe, let alone the Premier League. Spurs, let's be honest, have never really replaced Harry Kane since last summer. But I think a move for Toney would be a great decision from the club. He's accomplished in the league, and with Spurs playing Europa League football next season, it could be an appealing project for Ivan Toney. The fee is around 40 million. That's the rumor right now. And in this day and age, that is a steal in this transfer market. Personally, I would love to see Ivan Toney at Liverpool. It's his boyhood club. But more importantly, with the players that we have, I think he would fit into a squad very nicely. But unfortunately, due to his off-field issues, and I know Michael Edwards and his data team are back, they're very sort of nitty-gritty in terms of reviewing key data, such as characteristics and all that sort of stuff. So they're very sort of bang on in terms of making perfect signing. They have to tick a lot of boxes, and unfortunately, he might not meet their requirements, which is a shame because from a football perspective, I think he'd be fantastic in our team. But it's another team's gain if they sign Ivan Toney. I think it would definitely benefit Tottenham Hotspurs, who would have a lethal goal scorer to take the club forward, and I think he would be the perfect signing. So this is definitely one to watch this summer. And another rumor is Eze, a Crystal Palace player, of course, another player linked to Spurs. Now, if you've been following my podcast, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the player and have been for some time. I think ability-wise, there's no doubt that he could play for a top six team. But my only concern and question would be, where does he fit in the Tottenham lineup? He's traditionally a number 10, but that role is occupied by Madison, as Spurs traditionally play a 4-2-3-1. He could play left wing, and to be fair, could do a great job there. But I think he's much better suited playing through the middle, where he's more instinctive and has a fantastic shot on him from long distance. But nevertheless, it would be a great move for both player and club. But that would be my concern, as if you're spending all that money on one big player, you need to play them in their natural position. And I wouldn't want to see his talent being wasted in a role that doesn't suit his skill set. And another thing to consider as well, he won't be cheap, as Palace will be asking for around 60 million for this player. So if Spurs are serious, they need to bring a bag or two of cash to seal the deal. And that is the end of our transfer rumors, an exciting transfer window ahead of us. And that's also the end of the show. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of shows lined up for you this week, guys. So tomorrow I'll be doing a Liverpool transfer special as I assess the squad and then present who I believe the club should sign this summer. Then on Wednesday, I have another transfer special, but this time I'll be presenting one signing that I believe each Premier League club should be making this summer. And on Thursday, I'll be doing a Liverpool transfer talk show, similar format to today, as I know there's a lot of rumors circulating with Arne Slot officially announced as manager now. So yes, lots of content coming your way, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.